Hello, everybody. Welcome to another FAQ Monday, the show where I like questions more than zombies like brains. How about that Walking Dead season premiere? I'm gonna start calling it Dominoes because it delivered. You know what I mean? At any rate, if you have a question, feel free to leave them down below or on my little ask.fm account thingy if you want to do it anonymously. First question. Hello, Fluff. Just wondering if you're going to put out another EP or even an LP in the near future. Love, Fire Breather. Thanks. I put out my last album. It's an EP called Fire Breather almost a year ago, November of 2013, and that was a lot of fun, and I had screamy vocals on it, and that was a massive undertaking because I did real drums and real amps, and hired my buddy Nick from Unearth to play drums on it, and it turned out fantastically. But these days, things are so hectic, I just don't think I can commit the time or the energy to start writing material quite yet for another EP. And I like EPs because they're not as much to do, and they're a smaller undertaking, and you can get them out faster, and it's also a reflection of what your tastes are now, as opposed to doing an entire album and then, pushing it for, 6 months to a year or something like that. With an EP, I can just put out little bite size. It's like those little Snickers bars that are in the individually wrapped packages. I much prefer those than a whole Snickers bar, because the Snickers bar is quite a bit of Snickers to have. It was a terrible analogy, and I apologize, but to answer your question, no. And also, I have a hard time when I'm constantly writing for the YouTube videos, so it's really hard to just sit and write something and then go, no, I'm not going to use that for this video, even though I really need a song for this video. So it'll come, but I'm thinking, I'll go all Kemper, all tune track drums, and to go super, super melodic and see just how melodic I can go with my stuff. It'll be pretty cool. Being a Seattle guy and growing up in the grunge days, what are your feelings towards 80s hair metal and the shredders of the 80s? I actually like all that stuff. I never had a problem with it. I distinctly remember in like 4th grade when Every Rose Has Its Thorn was out, I think, or it was definitely a Poison album that was out. And I remember asking the neighbor girl, who was like 5 or 6 years older than me, why everyone was into this girl band. Because I honestly didn't know that those were dudes. I thought they were women, and I thought women had suddenly taken over the music industry as a kid. And I thought women were like shredding and playing in White Snake, and I honestly thought as a kid women had taken over the entire rock music industry, and was shocked to learn that they did not. But no, seriously, I like all that stuff, and I love the Warren DeMartini. Doug Aldrich, I know he's still a relevant modern player today, but I really think of his style as really derived from people like John Sykes, and I'm a huge fan of Sykes and Aldrich and all those guys. Vi's fantastic, and see, I already mentioned Warren DeMartini, I think. And I like all that stuff. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with shredding guitar playing, and I kind of miss the 80s. Even though I was a little kid at the time, I remember it fondly, sometimes. Except MC Hammer and that kind of stuff. Hey Fluff, do you play video games? Gaming console? Top best video games you ever played? I was a gamer for a long, long time, and by gamer, I mean a gaming enthusiast. Now, I am not one of those guys who goes to the conventions, and I don't get every game that comes out, especially these days. I haven't bought a video game in a little while, but I started with the NES, and I was a hardcore NES, Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation 2 guy for a really, really long time, and just with this channel, it's pretty much taken up every spare moment I have, so I don't have time to play video games as much as possible. But I did have, the last game I played was Battlefield 4, and I completed that, and I really like first-person shooters. I'm not into the Final Fantasies and the Skyrims and stuff like that. I just don't have the patience or the attention span for it, but the first-person shooters, Call of Duty is my jam, and I haven't got a PlayStation 4, and I haven't got the newest Xbox console. I would love to get one. I would love to get a PlayStation 4 and do like community like Call of Duty tournaments with you guys. I think that would be pretty cool, and I would totally be down for that, but I need to get a PlayStation 4 first, and I don't have one since my PlayStation 3 died on me. Sad face. But it'll happen one of these days. You know, when things die down or I'm able to quit my job or something like that, I will definitely get a hold of a PlayStation 4 and maybe we'll do some gaming together and you can shoot the crap out of me. It'll be fun. Thoughts on Nick Thompson and thoughts on his guitars/tone? Love your stuff, man. Much metal-infused love from Norway. I know I give a lot of praise to Jim Root, but I also am a huge fan of Mick from Slipknot. And what I really think is unique about him is he is a super gear nerd. Jim Root likes his gear and he likes his cars and his motorcycles, his amps, his guitars. But Mick Thompson is a hardcore guitar gear junkie. And I know this because, well, I've known several people who have known him, but one time a few years ago on a Facebook post that Rivera posted about having different tube options for his signature Rivera amp, someone asked, what's the difference between a 6L6 and an EL34 tube? And no one was answering this kid, so I come in and I answered him. And then Mick came in right behind me and said, yeah, that guy's absolutely right. I don't know who he is, but yeah, he's dead on. And I have nothing to add to that. And it was awesome. It was a huge fanboy moment. That was several years ago. But his tone is fantastic. The guy super shreds. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for him and the rest of the Slipknot boys. What are your thoughts on Epiphone guitars when compared with Gibson? I've got a Gibson LP traditional and love it, but wonder if there's a lot of difference between them. This is an interesting question that I get quite often, and having owned quite a few Epiphones over the years, and obviously I'm up to 7 Gibsons now. Oh geez. There is a difference, and some of it is obvious and others are not. For example, the hardware is not as good on the Epiphones as on some of the Gibsons, in my opinion. The plastic pickup rings are a much smaller, thinner, flimsier plastic, for example. The pots aren't as good, but if you change out all of the parts, all of the hardware, all of the pickups to match that of a Gibson Les Paul Traditional, for example, there is still a feeling that it's just not quite up to the Gibson level, and I don't know why. I think the weight has a lot to do with it. Most Epiphones are very, very light guitars. Obviously there are heavy ones, but most of the ones that I have ever played and picked up are extremely light. You feel like you could blow away in the wind with them. And a Gibson is typically, you know, moderately to pretty heavy in some cases, on the Les Pauls in particular. And also, the headstock shape for me on the Epiphones doesn't really do it for me. I didn't grow up with posters of guys playing Epiphones. I grew up with guys playing Gibsons, you know, Jimmy Page and, you know, Billy Gibbons and stuff like that. They didn't play Epiphones, they played Gibsons. So, you know, it's all a matter of opinion. There are wonderful, wonderful Epiphones. I like Epiphones. I think the Lee Malia from Bring Me the Horizon's new custom is pretty good looking. It's grown on me. I would love to check one of those out. It looks like a really nice guitar. And that is it for the questions. Now, how about a suggestion of the week? And this one's a pretty good one. This is a documentary that the guys over on the Noisy channel are doing, and you can check that out right here. And it is about the New Orleans music scene over the years, the same scene that I Hate God and Down have come from, and Crowbar, and it's all about the NOLA scene. And Pepper Keenan's in it, and all the guys from Down, I Hate God, and Crowbar, and, you know, Jimmy Bower's in it. And it's just wonderfully, wonderfully done. At the time of this videotaping, number 6 just came out yesterday, I think. And watch them all. I will link to the very first video in the series of 7 for you in the description as well. It's amazing, and you will really like it, I promise. I am Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. That's all the time I got this week. I will see you next time.